Tonight, shock and sadness in a remote BC community after a grizzly bear attack on a school group.
All we're trying to do now is focus on the well-being of our children.
Why teachers are being hailed as heroes.
These children are going to be around for many, many, many years because of the actions that they've done.
The MAGA president, the socialist mayor-elect, and the Oval Office.
We had a meeting today that actually surprised me.
Forget fireworks, think Love Fest.
To infinity and beyond.
The film and studio that changed the game in movie animation.
You had this visual language that no one had ever seen on the big screen before.
But as Toy Story turns 30, is Pixar keeping up?
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. A remote British Columbia community is grappling with the aftermath of a horrific grizzly bear attack, tending to and worrying about a group of elementary school children and their teachers. It happened Thursday in Bella Coola while the group was on a field trip having lunch on a trail. The teachers are being called heroes for trying to fight the bear off, but 3 children and 1 adult are in critical or serious condition. And tonight, officials are still searching for the grizzly. Yasmin Ranea now with more details on the attack and why some are calling for a hunting ban to be lifted.
In the remote community of Bella Coola, shock and devastation after elementary school children and teachers were attacked by a grizzly bear.
It was just an unprecedented event that we have never experienced. And so all we're trying to do now is focus on the well-being of our children and making sure that they have the supports that they need.
It happened Thursday afternoon. The group from an independent school run by the Newhawk Nation was on a field trip and having lunch along a trail. Teachers being praised for fighting off the animal, using bear spray and a bear banger, which gives off a loud noise to scare it off.
These children are going to be around for many, many, many years because of the actions that they've done.
Officials say in total, 11 people were injured. 3 children and an adult were in critical or serious condition and needed urgent hospital care. Weather prevented a plane from landing locally, so they were driven 5 hours to Williams Lake and from there airlifted to hospital. Those familiar with bear-human interactions say it's rare for bears to attack such big groups.
We're much more intimidating in large groups, and statistically, when you look at the research of cases where people have been attacked by grizzly bears, they're usually by themselves or with one other person.
This is the latest grizzly bear attack in BC. Last month, a man was killed by a mother grizzly in the southeastern part of the province. The BC Wildlife Federation says grizzly bear attacks have doubled after a hunting ban was put in place in 2017. It's now calling for it to be lifted.
Certainly, anytime there is a bear attack, the Conservation Service provides advice to government about anything we can do to prevent similar incidents in the future, and we'll certainly be listening to that advice carefully.
But for the community of Bella Coola, the suggestion comes too soon. People here just want to focus on the children. Community members say they are no strangers to bears and want to live in harmony with them. Erica?
And Yasmin, the bear still has not been located?
That's right. Conservation officers have set up traps to find it, but it is a challenge due to the amount of bears in the area. Officials have not decided whether the bear will be killed once it's found. In the meantime, people are being asked to avoid forested areas and the river and to stay inside when possible.
Thanks for this. That's Yasmin Ranea reporting from Bella Coola, British Columbia. A 13-year-old girl has died after she was hit by a school bus in Laval, Quebec. Police say she got off the bus and was in a blind spot as the driver was turning, striking and killing her on Thursday evening. The 54-year-old driver was taken to hospital for shock. Police say they will be interviewing the driver about what happened, but they do not believe there was criminal wrongdoing. After more than 2 years of bargaining, 2 national strikes, and even now rotating strikes, Canada Post and the union representing most of its workers have a tentative agreement. The details and contractual language still have to be worked out, but when and if it is ratified, the rotating strikes stop. It comes as the Crown Corporation reported the highest quarterly loss in its history of more than $500 million, thanks in part to the labor dispute. It was all smiles in Washington this afternoon after New York City's mayor-elect met with the U.S. president. Despite their well-known political differences, Zohran Mamdani and Donald Trump told reporters they focused on their shared concerns. Paul Hunter has more.
We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting.
You heard him. A great meeting, really good, very productive. That's right. U.S. President Donald Trump after his much-hyped face-to-face with New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani.
If there is any way to terrify a despot.
The same Mamdani Trump had earlier labeled a radical left lunatic. The Democratic Socialist that Trump's own press secretary had previewed this way.
We have a communist coming to the White House.
Mr. President. But after their get-together, Trump had a whole other, utterly unexpected take.
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there.
Even Mamdani, who in recent weeks had targeted Trump with barbs of his own, seemed smilingly upbeat throughout, if on message.
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the President is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. We focused on affordability, we focused on the cost of living crisis.
Given the expectation of fireworks, the whole thing was remarkable. Even when, for example, a reporter put it to Mamdani that he had once called Trump a fascist. Trump, wait for it, came to the aid of Mamdani.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes. Okay. Yeah. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Few details of their private conversation emerged, but the surprise, almost bromancy vibe was undeniable.
I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
And soon after that, Erica, they shook hands. Trump even patted the back of Mamdani's, and then they went their separate ways.
Okay, but Paul, that's inside the Oval Office. What's reaction to this been like outside?
Yeah, well, I mean, jaws are on the floor pretty much everywhere over this. It's like, what? You know, especially among some of Trump's strongest MAGA supporters who've taken to social media and seem floored by Trump being so friendly with Mamdani, who they see as a pariah. But make no mistake, it wasn't just the Oval Office. Trump later posting photos on social media, Trump and Mamdani together in the White House, smiling, Trump, thumbs up. Who'd have thought that?
All right, thanks, Paul. Paul Hunter in Washington tonight. U.S. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor-Greene, who built a political career as a MAGA firebrand before a recent public feud with Donald Trump, has announced her resignation. Trump called Greene a traitor and backed a primary challenger after she criticized his position on the Epstein files and the recent government shutdown. Greene said loyalty is a two-way street. The government still hasn't made a call on one of Canada's most pivotal defense decisions, whether to buy a full fleet of U.S.-made F-35 jets. And Kate McKenna shows us that's despite pressure in Ottawa and from Washington.
Fighter jet procurement may be headed for a dogfight amid trade tensions between Canada and the United States.
The F-35 acquisition remains under review. And when it's completed, we'll have much more to say about this.
Canada has already agreed to purchase 16 F-35 jets, but the defense minister says there's still no decision on whether to go ahead with buying the full order of 88 from American company Lockheed Martin. The review of the multi-billion-dollar deal was supposed to be done by the end of the summer.
Once and for all, when will this unnecessary review finally end, and who's actually in charge of buying fighter jets over there?
The U.S. ambassador to Canada seemed to hint what happens next could affect the future of U.S.-Canada trade.
What's your most optimistic view of what the next iteration of that agreement will look like?
Well, on a number of these issues, we're actually waiting to see exactly where the Canadian government is going to come out on this. On the F-35, we've got all kinds of people and companies that are involved.
Canada has eyes on an alternative, the Swedish-made Saab Gripen. The CEO says if Ottawa goes with Gripens, it could add up to 10,000 jobs in Canada.
We are prepared to move technology to Canada and set up shop here with partnerships with industry.
Their charm offensive included a royal visit earlier this week. But in another sign, the White House is already critical about Canada's policy choices. The U.S. Vice President posted online that there is immigration insanity in Canada, adding stagnating living standards have nothing to do with Donald Trump or whatever boogeyman the CBC tells you to blame. The federal government has said it's ready to go back to the negotiating table, but in the meantime, it'll look for ways to increase trade with other countries. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
Tonight, Mark Carney is in South Africa for the G20 summit, aiming to advance trade talks with other countries. Ashley Burke shows us why Donald Trump is absent and why that could help Canada.
The Prime Minister arriving in Johannesburg for a summit that's supposed to be with leaders representing 2/3 of the world's population. But this year, the biggest economy won't be there. Donald Trump's boycotting the G20.
The United States is not participating in official talks.
Death, death, death.
In May, Trump confronted South Africa's president with false claims of genocide against white South African farmers, and later called it a disgrace it's hosting the G20.
Because what's happened there is bad. I'm not going. I told him I'm not going. I'm not going to represent our country there.
But the summit's going ahead without Trump. And on the heels of Carney's visit to the UAE, he's aiming to continue diversifying trade away from the U.S.
Canadians have become united in the face of the fundamental change in U.S. trade policy.
Carney made his pitch to business leaders about why he says they should invest in Canada.
One of the things, the many strengths of the UAE that Canada shares, is offering investors the certainty that they deserve.
The UAE is now promising to invest more than $90 billion into Canada's economy, with $23 billion for specific projects. Carney's now taking his pitch to other countries on the sidelines of the G20. Trump not being there removes a big center of attention.
If part of the goal for Mark Carney at this summit is to have meetings with key countries that Canada is trying to deepen its trade partnerships with, like South Korea, like Indonesia, India, and others, then Trump's absence may, in some ways, actually create some space for that.
Carney is expected to hold bilateral meetings on Saturday with the leaders of France, the EU, UK, Germany, and Norway, then meet with India's Prime Minister on Sunday. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Johannesburg.
In Brazil, negotiations at the COP30 summit are expected to extend past tonight's deadline for a deal. A draft published this morning didn't include plans to transition away from oil, gas, and coal. That angered a group of countries which won't accept an agreement without a commitment to move away from fossil fuels. Ukraine's president says he'll quickly offer alternatives to a new U.S. peace plan pushed by Donald Trump, a proposal seen by many as favoring Russia. With a U.S. deadline a week away, Briar Stewart looks at Volodymyr Zelensky's new message.
Now is one of the most difficult moments in our history, said Ukraine's president, striking a somber tone. It was nearly 4 years ago when Volodymyr Zelenskyy urged Ukrainians to fight off a Russian advance. Now the country is under pressure on the battlefield and from one of its most important allies. Zelenskyy said Ukraine may be facing a difficult choice, losing its sovereign rights or the support of Washington if it fails to accept a U.S.-backed 28-point peace plan that many Ukrainians believe is a request for surrender. It is really almost a path to capitulation, says this man. Nothing good shines for Ukraine, said another. We just need to fight and struggle. Under the plan, Ukraine would have to cede control of the eastern Donbas region, including areas Russia doesn't even control. The front lines in Kherson and Zaporizhia would be frozen. Ukraine would also have to shrink its military, capping it at 600,000 people. The country would be given security guarantees, but there are few details. The proposal calls for $100 billion of Russia's frozen assets to be used to rebuild Ukraine.
Once I did 8 peace deals.
Donald Trump, ever eager to show he secured a deal, has set November 27th, American Thanksgiving, as the deadline.
Yeah, we have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin said that the U.S. proposal can be the basis for peace, but it's the Kremlin that's rejected any push for a ceasefire.
And Putin said no. So that's what needs to change, and that's the pressure that needs to be brought on Putin to end this war.
European leaders have felt sidelined by this U.S. plan and are working on a counter-proposal with Ukraine. Zelenskyy had a phone call with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and says Kyiv will keep working towards peace, but the government will not betray the country's national interests. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
Israeli officials say the country's prime minister has met with security officials to address surging settler violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. Among the latest attacks, this scrapyard was torched after settlers were reported throwing stones at passing cars in the village of Huwara. The scrapyard owner says Israeli soldiers forced the perpetrators away. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says those involved in attacks are a handful of extremists. But according to the UN, between January and October, there were nearly 3,000 settler attacks. And as Tom Perry shows us, several more in recent days. The area has seen violence from both sides, but there's little trust from Palestinians that Israel is willing to protect them.
The aftermath of a surprise attack. The charred remains of delivery vans at a dairy in the occupied West Bank. The vehicles set alight by a mob of masked Israeli settlers. Mohammed Zabadeh works here. On the day of the attack, he saw workers running. When he saw the settlers, he says he made sure the doors were locked and employees inside. This attack part of a surge in settler violence, targeting homes, vehicles, a mosque, even a Reuters news crew covering the annual olive harvest, a frequent flashpoint. In the town of Sinjar, where the Palestinian Health Ministry says settlers killed 2 men, including a Palestinian American, in July, homes have been attacked and car windows smashed. The town sits behind a high metal fence. Israeli officials say it's to protect a nearby highway from Palestinians throwing rocks and attacking vehicles. Though people here say all it's done is cut them off from their land. Walid Naim Fakah used to grow food on the far side of the fence. Now he worries what will happen if he's caught there by settlers or the army.
The situation in Sinjar is very dangerous.
The town's mayor doesn't believe Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has condemned the recent violence and called on authorities to go after the perpetrators.
No, that's not true. Benjamin Netanyahu, with his team, they protect them.
Human rights groups and the UN say Israeli authorities have often turned a blind eye to attacks or supported them. Palestinians say so far they see no reason to believe that will change. Tom Perry, CBC News, Sinjar in the occupied West Bank.
In Mexico City, thousands of bodies are being exhumed in a mass search for the missing. We hear from families desperate for answers. Plus, new data shows a rise across Canada in the number of kids skipping class.
I don't really like school at the moment.
What's driving the surge in absenteeism? And Toy Story celebrates a milestone anniversary.
Woody, Buzz, the whole gang, it really stands up even 30 years later.
The characters have endured, but has Pixar lost its spark? We're back in 2. In Mexico City, a mass exhumation has begun to try and identify thousands of missing people believed to be dumped in common graves. Jorge Barrera traveled there to see the project get underway and meet the families desperate for answers.
A group of families searching for their vanished loved ones take a shuttle through Mexico City's Panteón Civil de Dolores cemetery. This is the site of the city's largest common grave. The bodies lying here have never been claimed or identified.
Porque tengo la gran esperanza de que mi hijo.
I have great hope that my son will be found here, says Ana Maria Maldonado.
Aunque sea así, ya sin vida, pero
Even like this, without life, her son Carlos vanished in 2010 at age 34 after he went out to buy a car from someone he met online.
Pero quiero ya saber qué pasó con mi hijo.
But I want to know what happened to my son, she says. Families gathered here for what Mexico City officials described as the largest project of its kind in Latin America. The exhumation and identification of 6,600 bodies.
We are still crossing information from their names, their characteristics, to the names of the missing persons, and we are still doing that work to obtain the major number of identities possible in this process.
One of the lead officials on the project says a review of cemetery and missing persons records found hundreds of possible matches, triggering this project.
Años van a ser.
This is going to take years, he says. This is part of Mexico City's multi-agency strategy to deal with its growing list of the disappeared, over 7,000.
Estamos conscientes de que la búsqueda de personas desaparecidas es un reto de gran magnitud.
We are conscious that the search for disappeared persons is a challenge of great magnitude, said Bertha Alcalde Luján, the city's attorney general. Until we find them, the families chant.
Estoy aquí porque nos hicieron a mi familia y a mí la notificación.
Sofia Lara Alfonso said her family was notified that her brother was buried in this common grave. Carlos Alfonso was homeless and died in hospital in 2012.
Nunca se nos notificó pues que él estaba ahí, ¿no?
She said the family, which had filed a missing persons report in 2009, was never notified.
Para mí siempre fue mi mejor amigo de niña.
He was always my best friend since I was a girl, she says. Officials say they hope to exhume about 24 bodies in this first phase. Jorge Barrera, CBC News, Mexico City.
Across the country, school attendance is sliding.
It might be sometimes I'm feeling sick and maybe that's legit. Sometimes maybe it's not necessarily legit. Other times maybe there's another reason like bullying in the schoolyard that's happening.
From anxiety to social struggles, what's increasingly keeping kids at home? And Donald Trump defends Saudi Arabia's crown prince during a tense exchange in the Oval Office.
The U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist.
Who are you with?
Why should Americans
Who
trust
are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
What the moment tells us about the U.S. president's priorities. Plus, after more than a decade of searching, biologists find a rare flower. The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. This is the royal charter that created Hudson's Bay Company, a 355-year-old foundational piece of Canadian history. An Ontario court says it can be put up for auction early next month. That as part of the now-defunct retailer's liquidation. Though there's a condition. Whoever buys it has to donate it to a public institution. Bidding starts at $18 million. Toy Story is turning 30. The animated feature from Pixar was the first of its kind and a massive blockbuster success. Magda Gebrselassie looks at how the once revolutionary studio is now just trying to keep up.
You can't fly.
Yes, I can.
Toy Story put Pixar on a pedestal. This was the first 3D computer animated feature film. Its 30th anniversary being celebrated, including with concerts in Toronto.
Woody, Buzz, the whole gang, it really stands up even 30 years later.
And Pixar kept stacking the box office wins and Oscars, from Finding Nemo to Up, and the flick that turned emotions into characters, Inside Out. For a time, Pixar nailed the story and evolved with technology, says this animator.
You had this visual language that no one had ever seen on the big screen before. You had design that no one had ever experienced, and animation in a technique. It was a magic trick.
But does Pixar still have the magic? Its first flop was The Good Dinosaur in 2015. Since then, many of its original stories have struggled.
This is awesome!
And this summer, Elio was its worst box office opening.
The toys are back in town.
Its sequels mostly successful.
There's only one Spider-Man.
But over time, some say the company has fallen behind other studios when it comes to visual design.
The clearest effect of that in American animation is Into the Spider-Verse, because that really just like redefined like what an animated movie could be, and it made a lot of money.
Independent and international filmmakers are making waves too. The Latvian film Flow, made for less than $4 million US, was an Oscar winner this year.
There is an emergence of smaller crew production models that have access to cheaper or open access tools and software that are able to produce feature-length, high-quality films.
Coming to you live! But Pixar still has big wins. Last year, Inside Out 2 was its highest-grossing film of all time at $1.7 billion US. And more success could be on the way.
There's Toy Story 5 coming out next year.
A blast from the past, 30 years on. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. More and more Canadian kids are missing school and staying home.
Some days I just really don't want to go in.
An exclusive look at the new data. What's behind the higher rates of absenteeism? But first.
Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist.
You with who?
ABC News.
The reporter's questions that enraged Trump.
You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter.
What Trump's tense Oval Office exchange with the Saudi prince by his side reveals about U.S.-Saudi ties. Andrew Chang, host of About That, looks at Trump's defense of the Saudi crown prince and why it might be linked to the deals Washington is trying to close.
Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
One thing was immediately clear in this reporter's question to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia, that Donald Trump, as his host in the Oval Office, was not going to let this line of questioning go on for very long.
Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question.
And so then, listen to this answer he's about to give, one that hints at something much more important than just the fake news insult.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
What you just saw was how Trump sees two key relationships: his relationship with the press and the U.S. relationship with a kingdom that is seen as a crucial key to the Middle East. Let me explain.
I'm in front of the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where prominent Saudi journalist and political commentator Jamal Khashoggi has failed to emerge from the building.
He went missing on Tuesday. He went to the consulate building of Saudi Arabia in Istanbul, and he never came out.
The very uncomfortable question that put both Trump and the Crown Prince on defense was about the murder of this man, Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi journalist based in the United States as a columnist for the Washington Post. He was highly critical of the Saudi monarchy, making himself a political target. He was strangled to death in 2018 in the Saudi consulate in Turkey.
The breaking news just into CNN, and it is disturbing news. More information on the death, the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
As soon as he entered the building, virtually, he was strangled, and then afterwards his body was dismembered and disposed of.
Now, Khashoggi had enemies.
Hello and welcome to the interview here on France 24. My guest today is Jamal Khashoggi. He's a well-known Saudi journalist.
When he gave that interview to France 24, it was a year before his death, but just a few weeks after he had fled Saudi Arabia and what he saw as the increasingly authoritarian tendencies of its de facto ruler, Mohammed bin Salman.
It is becoming a one-man rule. He has a control on everything. He is creating an environment of intimidation and fear.
So when he walked into a Saudi consulate in Istanbul a year later for marriage paperwork and never came back out, there was an almost immediate suspicion about what happened and on whose authorization.
Did the Saudi government abduct and murder a Saudi journalist on foreign soil? And if so, will there be any consequences?
The simple fact that Khashoggi was killed in a Saudi consulate, a building under full Saudi government control, every entry and exit recorded, that would already have suggested the state was involved. The only real question being how high up the decision to kill him went.
This was highly orchestrated, well thought out. There was a kidnapping, the fact that it took so many people.
There were 15 of them. Most arrived in the dead of night, laid their trap, and waited for the target to arrive. That target was Jamal Khashoggi.
And here's the now declassified assessment of US intelligence, that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation in Istanbul, Turkey, to capture or kill Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. That conclusion, based on the tight connections of those involved, directly to the Crown Prince, and most likely on his authorization, even his own elite personal protective detail involved. And here's a nod to motive, how the Crown Prince viewed Khashoggi as a threat and would have been willing to use violence if necessary.
Khashoggi's death was violent. He was killed by Saudi agents and his body dismembered with a bone saw, and it led to international condemnation of Saudi Arabia.
You wouldn't need access to sensitive intelligence to reach that judgment.
Something this consequential, something this big, something this daring, something this outside of the ordinary is not done without the approvals of the very top.
So to bring this back to the Oval Office, when Trump directly contradicts American intelligence, praising bin Salman and vilifying the victim.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that.
It seemed like Trump was alarmed that the person he's trying to make a deal with may have been insulted by this question from an American news agency. And to Trump, that was the most paramount concern.
This is what I think we can fairly call a pretty transactional approach to diplomacy, almost demoralizing the issue, stripping it of its weight, and for at least two sets of reasons. One, geopolitical, and the other, maybe very personal.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news.
So this reporter from ABC News is their chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. Trump didn't appear to know who she was.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
But he would soon enough, because she wasn't done with him.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter.
And here's where it's worth pointing out. The context here is not simply that Mary Bruce just got done asking another equally anger-inducing question about Jamal Khashoggi. It's that the news organization she belongs to, ABC News, has been in direct legal conflict with the Trump administration. 2023 was a real turning point for this relationship when a jury found Trump sexually abused magazine columnist E. Jean Carroll, but found him liable for defamation, not rape. ABC's George Stephanopoulos got that wrong on air, mistakenly saying that Trump had been found liable for rape, which turned into a $15 million problem.
You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter.
So yeah, this feels personal, but even more than that.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest?
So yes, this is that same reporter asking yet another pointed question of Trump. The Trump family business is one that, since becoming president, Trump says he has completely left behind.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over.
It's true that Trump has released the reins of the family business. He's off the board of directors, for example. But it's still a family business. His sons run the show.
President Trump's interests are aligned with his own children and their financial interest, including, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who has working relationships with Saudi Arabia, with Qatar, with the UAE. We know that Jared received $2 billion from Saudi Arabia for his investment fund. There are good reasons why President Trump, for his own familial interest, would not want to antagonize Saudi Arabia.
Over the next few years, the Trump Organization plans to build a Trump Tower in Saudi Arabia's second largest city, a luxurious new waterfront property slated for completion in 2029. Just outside the country's capital is Diriyah, what they call the birthplace of Saudi Arabia, the first capital of the Saudi monarchy. But now, where the Trump Organization has reportedly been in talks with the Saudi government for a real estate deal worth billions. These are just two projects. There are other business entanglements between the Saudi government and the Trump family that create possible conflicts of interest and that are part of this complex overlap between Trump the businessman and Trump the president, and there's more. Ultimately, the easiest explanation for why Trump was so quick to dismiss a reporter's question about the murder of Jamal Khashoggi is that he may simply see much more than that at stake.
So that's why tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally.
It is a formal designation. As a non-NATO ally, a country is able to get preferential, faster access to certain types of defense articles, and that's the primary benefit.
Because Saudi Arabia isn't just the largest or among the wealthiest or religiously important countries in the Middle East, being both the biggest global exporter of oil and home to the two holiest cities in Islam. It's geopolitically a crucial counterweight to an American enemy in Iran. Its geography, its money, its oil, its investments give it major regional influence. And with direct access to both the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf, it has indeed come to be, over the better part of the last century, a key security pillar of the U.S.
Trump announcing he will allow the U.S. to sell F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia.
This would mark the first time that these stealth aircraft are given to an Arab nation.
All this to say, there was a lot burbling just below the surface when the whole Oval Office seemed to freeze for just a moment.
Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist.
You with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst.
Because the reporter's question about a murdered journalist living in America, killed on the say-so of a foreign crown prince, it wasn't just about a political assassination. It was driving at the core of what drives America's priorities, starting with the U.S. president himself.
On Wednesday, Saudi Arabia pledged to invest $1 trillion in U.S. industries, including the potential purchase of F-35 fighter jets. Absenteeism is on the rise in schools across Canada, with a growing number of kids calling in sick.
Every day there are hundreds or thousands of students who are out of school.
Why staying home feels like a safer option for some. Next. Thousands of students across Canada are staying home from school each day. In one family, their son's struggle to show up includes anxiety from bullying.
Well, sometimes I'm like, I don't care, okay, yeah, you said it. But sometimes it kind of hurts.
Tara Carmen took a closer look at the rising rates of absenteeism and why it might be happening.
School avoidance.
Some days I just really don't want to go in.
What is he saying about why he doesn't want to go?
You don't always get a clear reason.
A CBC exclusive analysis shows a rise in students across the country calling in sick.
Every day there are thousands of students who are out of school.
What's causing so many to stay home?
kids don't always have the words to express what's going on.
I can play hot cross buns, except this one, it gets like stuck.
2 months into the new school year, and 12-year-old William D. Pasquale has already missed 10 days of grade 7.
I don't really like school at the moment.
Having cereal, getting your outfit together, just starts to show up in resistance.
William's father, Norm, works from home.
5 minus 7, yeah.
He has the added task of supervising William when he doesn't want to go to school.
That one too. We're at about the time where you have to get them to school so that you can get back to start your workday. So the clock is ticking, and that sort of subtle resistance is very effective.
What is he saying about why he doesn't want to go?
You don't always get a clear reason. It might be sometimes I'm feeling sick. Maybe that's legit. Sometimes maybe it's not necessarily legit. Other times maybe there's another reason, like bullying in the schoolyard that's happening.
I twitch a lot in class. And sometimes I get made fun of that.
Can you tell me about what happens?
Just say mean stuff.
And how does that feel?
Well, sometimes I'm I don't care, okay, yeah, you said it. But sometimes it kind of hurts.
When there's been an incident at school, it carries with him the next day, and then the next morning it becomes the reason why he doesn't want to go to school that day.
To find out how widespread this is, CBC News obtained attendance data from some of the largest school districts in the country. Of those that track illness, our analysis shows, compared to 5 years ago, absences for reported illness went up.
When we think about school attendance, we think about it as a symptom of underlying issues that can be going on. We do have to set a date for that.
Natasha McBrearty and David Smith belong to a research partnership investigating attendance issues among children and youth in Canada.
We know from the families we work with, we know from the service providers that anxiety definitely is a contributor to attendance.
Anxiety over taking a test, difficulty fitting in, stress at home, bullying.
The staying home, this is a well-known, well-documented reaction of kids and parents to bullying situations. Every day there are hundreds or thousands of students who are out of school because of the bullying that they're experiencing.
Students like William.
Sometimes when you don't want to go to school, your mom says you get a tummy ache.
Well, sometimes I eat something and my stomach hurts after eating it.
Mom's gonna pass you some seaweed there for your lunch, and a thermos for your lunch. You do your best. You want your child to go to school every day so they can learn, grow, and thrive. But you also have to look out for your child's well-being and mental well-being. And there are days where you look at your child and they don't have it in them to go to school that day.
One thing that would help us understand all this would be if districts tracked the reasons for absence more accurately. As William's dad, Norm, said, there's no button for bullying on the attendance app.
And Tara, what do parents say would help?
So the parents I spoke with said teachers are generally doing a good job with a high workload, but they said there needs to be more of them in the schoolyard to keep kids like William safe, and in classrooms to better support kids who learn in different ways.
Thanks for this, Tara Carmen in Vancouver. Coming up, researchers find a rare flower after searching for more than a decade.
This flower is just so otherworldly. It's like an electrifying experience.
Their emotional reaction in our moment. What you're looking at is a very rare flower found in the remote Sumatra rainforest in Indonesia. Biologists were overcome with emotion after finding one in the tiger-patrolled forests after a 13-year search. Tonight, their discovery is our moment.
We did it. We found it. It really looks like something sent from another planet. And my friend, Deki, he's wanted to see it for 13 years. It just had a really strong emotional effect on him. He's crying. It's called Rafflesia celtii, but this particular one is super rare and it grows in this really remote rainforests where tigers prowl by night. Hardly anyone's seen it. We did quite a long trek and had to go upriver, downriver, down slopes, hanging from vines. Really, it's just then luck. It's down to the gods whether you will actually find this flower open or not. And it was our moment. And it opened there and then in front of our eyes. This flower is just so otherworldly. It's like an electrifying experience. You feel like you've seen and experienced something truly special, and you sort of hold on to that magic. To have experienced that together was truly special and something I'll never forget.
Now, it's very rare to see this flower because apparently the buds take months to develop, and then when they do, they only remain open for a couple of days. Should be noted, though, that this is also the smelliest flower in the world. It is known as the corpse flower because it emits the smell of rotting flesh. Biologists didn't seem to mind that too much. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.